community development, it's in terms of improvements of well-being.
The more we implicated, the better we can fight against those problems that we have.
For me, being involved in your community is taking part in positive projects.
I think ultimately we're all looking for a sense of belonging.
The city, as 112 communities who often are pulling the rug on their side on a particular issue or funding or initiative, communities like Lowertown can easily be forgotten in that conversation. So, you know, the strength of that, the strength of bringing forward initiative is with our schools, it's with our elected official instabilities there, it's with community groups like community associations who can look at an issue and seeing its resolution or its focus, its objectives through a longer lens. And then obviously we rely day in, day out on strong team members at the Lowertown Resource Centres to advocate on behalf of residents.
The challenge is mostly try to mobilize people. You know, we're in a society where people are like living lonely, and community development is a matter of groups, of a community. You have to do things together. And when an issue is facing a community, it's not a personal problem, it's a community problem. And so try to get people involved. That's where most of the time there is a challenge. My name is Alain Lutala. I'm a community developer at the Lowertown Community Resource Centre, which is a building right behind me. So community development is a process. It's a process of getting solution on issues that a community is facing. So, and the goal is to try to improve their well-being. So my role as a community developer is to support a community in all their initiatives and try to resolving the issues that they are facing. So that's my role. It's like a backup. Whenever they need some support, I'm there to provide whichever support they may need. So that's my main role as a community developer. I know in the past what used to be done was people trying to bring decision or activities or projects in a community without consulting the community. But through the community development process, we are now starting from the bottom up. So the community has to be consulted, the community has to come up with their concerns and then try to resolve those concerns. And so that's the basic of the community development. I'll be chairing this meeting today, and the meeting, as I sent out the agenda, will be more focusing on the outcome of our last meeting.
This afternoon, we're about to start a Zoom meeting about the anti-racism in the Lowertown. And we also have the chance today at the meeting that will start to have the youth, some of the youth members to intervene and give their opinion also.
Hello, everybody. My name is Sue Lévy, and I am a Lowertown community member. And I'm here as part of just an interest, and also because, interest and just active learning about what role I can play.
I believe it's very important to mobilize the participant, the community to participate. As you may know, Lowertown has a borderline, you know, of security issues, of other itinerant issues that are very important. So the more we implicated, the better we can fight against those problems that we have.
Yeah, I believe there are quite a few challenges, especially stemming from the socioeconomic diversity in the area. There's an affordable housing issue, there's an unemployment issue, especially among racialized and marginalized and vulnerable youth. There are probably quite a few more challenges that we're actually not even aware of.
Bonjour tout le monde, je m'appelle Sophie. Je suis aussi une résidente de la base ville. Et contente de voir toutes ces nouvelles personnes sur le comité et en espérant pouvoir faire quelque chose de concret cette année.
We're at the moment looking for people who are interested in joining our cause, of all ages, of all genders, of all persuasions who might be interested in working on equity.
Really want to capitalize on the fact that we have some young people on the phone today. I'm curious, do you agree, young people? Is policing a theme that's interesting to you and relevant to you in Lowertown? Is it a concern for you?
It was a Black Lives Matter movement and the murder of George Floyd in the United States that triggered a lot of action on this side of the border. It highlighted that we too also have race relation issues, even if we don't have the same history. They are still issues that are important to consider, especially when we're talking about first and second generation immigrants who are new to Canada and the Indigenous populations that have long been overlooked and simply ignored.
I think the questions that Sophie was asking seems to be really very important to know if policing it's a concern for youth as yourself.
I would say yes. Actually, it's actually funny because I actually brought this up at one of our youth committee meetings.
We're putting in place this huge action against racism. We also have the community gathering to see what action we can have to bring change. And apart from that, Lowertown has already a lot of things that are settled. We have in summer a lot of activities that are accessible to all kids that they really like. We have the soccer for kids. We have a food bank. We have a lot of things to try to the best to assist the Lowertown community here.
You know, mobilization comes on really two aspects. One is when you're losing something or there's a particular issue and it's a reaction, you mobilize and you prevent or you resolve. On the other front, you plan. We've seen great positive attributes of that mobilization at different levels in the community. Thinking about De La Salle, which is one of the largest Francophone high schools in Ontario, and their specialty in the arts. There's been a lot of work there over the last decades. The recent transformation of St. Anne School and the celebration of the 100th anniversary of York Street Public School come to mind as, okay, a point in time where, hey, we celebrate 20,000 students who've come to the doors of York Street Public, and yet, you know, how does that school stay relevant, stay as an important hub for education for students in the area? To the community, you have to play on both sides. You have to be vigilant and be able to react when there are issues, and you have to be at the forefront of what are the needs and how do you make sure that local groups are there to and governments are there to fund. Usually it's programming needs or space needs.
As we always say, bottom up, so consultation. Once the community consultants, they decided on what actions they are taking. So our role will be just to support. So participants are the one who decide on what activities they are taking on, and they are the one leading the activity. We can only provide some resources, but it's the community members that participate and that decide on activities to be taken.
For me, being involved in your community is taking part in positive projects that have strong outputs for your community. And this is probably the best example is a local community garden. Well, I'm on the board of this garden, so that basically entails that we do all the coordination, we do all the equipment procurement, we buy the seeds that people will be planting throughout the year, and then we make sure that everybody's happy and they have all that they need to be able to foster a productive gardening season. Yeah, the people who participate in the community garden are people who come from diverse social backgrounds, and which is a great benefit to this social activity. Yeah. A local community garden will bring to residents a few things, primarily social interaction, which is a great benefit to be able to interact with different people from your community. The ability to get your hands dirty and plant seedlings and take care of stuff that grows out throughout the year. And also has a positive aspect on mental health, I find. If you read a lot of the literature regarding mental health, one of the main recommendations is a return to your roots, and which includes gardening. It is very beneficial for your own peace of mind, yeah.
And do you need help reaching out, or do you have contacts in these locations for just to ask them for a quote?
Some impacts of our action, I would say we can start noticing it. Recently, we can give as example the huge implications. So we can see a lot of citizens of the Lowertown coming in to get involved, and precisely the seniors, which is for me it's surprising but very interesting. As we can see those results, I'm pretty sure we're gonna be able to meet our targets, our goals.
We're so varied in our socioeconomic status, in our language, in our culture, in our identities, whether that gender identity, whatever that might be, ethnic identity, whatever that identities may be. We're so varied.
I think ultimately we're all looking for a sense of belonging, and a lot of the issues that we have in terms of race relations, in terms of interpersonal relations, relationships with systems, whether it be healthcare systems, education systems, legal systems, a lot of that boils down to the very simple need to belong. And what better way than to build up a community so everyone feels like they have a place to belong and a voice that is being heard.
Social cohesion creates positive outlook for in the environment. If you go back in probably the 80s and the 90s, Lowertown, it was a neighborhood that was up and coming, and today we're reaping the benefits from it. If you look around, you have families living here, there's a really nice park across the streets, and again, it is a very diverse community, and everybody feeds off that diversity.
Yes, there have been improvements. It's more qualitative indicators, not quantitative. Community development is not time of numbers. It's in terms of improvements of well-being. So let's say someone who was isolated, but through a community development activities, he gets to connect with their neighbors. So it's an improvement for them, because they'll have someone to speak to, they'll have someone to hang out with. So all those are some factors that cannot be really seen, but that are improving people's life. When a community is facing some challenges, and through a process that can help that community to improve and to get solutions to their challenges, to issues that they are facing, that's what's needed, and that's why community development is very important in the community.